I know it's hard. You know what sucks about how everything is so hard? The solution, guess what the solution is? The solution is to dive into the hard. So if life is hard and our circumstances are hard, and the solution is to engage in the hard, what is the solution to make the solution less arduous, less detrimental to our psyches, to our spirits? The answer: fortification, rejuvenation. These are buzzwords in people's minds until you define them. Just like I will always say, as people talk about, you need to love yourself, you need to love yourself. What does that even mean? Define it. And just to give you an example, I love breaking this down to show you how it might look to define certain terms for yourself, or certain phrases, or certain notions. To love yourself is to what? I define loving, we want to talk about unconditional love. And I always say the closest thing to unconditional love that I can think of is a mother with her child. Of course, fathers love their children as well. But I'm talking about the scenario because I've seen it so many times where a child does the most heinous, demonized kind of act. And a mother clearly still, while despising that child's act, they clearly still have a love for their child at a fundamental level. And I'm saying that's as unconditional as it can get. You know what I'm saying? And so my point is, so what does that even mean? That means that that mother wants to treat their child right despite the heinous behavior that they engaged in. Now, without getting into the nuance of that, what I'm saying is let's get into the nuance of when it's just you versus you and me versus me. To love myself means despite despite the dumb mistakes I may make, despite the foolish behavior I might engage in, despite me giving into an impulse that I'm extremely ashamed of, and I'm like, oh man, why'd I do that? Like, why'd I just make this stupid purchase, and feel the shame, but then treat myself right despite. Now, this is where people start slipping. What does it even mean to treat yourself right despite? A lot of people's definitions of treating themselves right mean just give yourself permission to not think about it. Give yourself permission to not confront yourself. I'm not talking about that. My definition of treating yourself right is to force yourself to make sure you get sleep. To force yourself when you're hungry. Let's say you're super hungry, eat a meal with just, like if you make chicken and broccoli, to force yourself to put some extra virgin olive oil over that sucker, to force yourself to consume nutrients, to force yourself to engage in some physical activity, to force yourself to have healthy, transparent, vulnerable conversations. That's what I mean by treating yourself right despite. It's the same thing with a child. I'll go back to, let's talk about that term force. My parents, they forced me when I was a child to have a bedtime at a certain time. At the time, I was like, oh, this is awful. That was good. Thank God they forced me to go to sleep at a decent time. They used to force me to read. Like say during the summer, you got the book report. I remember that. I remember I felt like, oh, yeah, thank God they forced me to read. I look back on that. I'm just saying, it's those kinds of things where we stigmatize this term force, and it's like, oh, let everybody just, go with the wind. It's like, nah, man. Sometimes you gotta force. It's just, but then it's about what is the behavior, what is the behavior that you're engaging in that is being forced? What is the scenario being applied? My point to all that is definitions matter so much. Definitions are everything. And so when it comes to our everyday life, we're so dissatisfied, we're so dysfunctional, and we have so much hard. But the only way to combat the hard is to be hard. And hard, not in the sense that you want to, I'm not talking about in the more colloquial use of that term where it's like, yeah, I'm going to be hard and F you. I say the hard, when I go into the grocery store, the kind of hard that I'm interested in. All these inconsiderate, obnoxious people acting as if they have zero spatial awareness. The hard that I believe in is me being composed and decent despite that, because as much as I would love to just want to be like, hey asshole, blah, 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 what is really that going to do in the long run? I might even have this person receive their comeuppance, that person receive their comeuppance. But does it really create the kind of change that I want to see in the world? To be honest with you, what I respect more than anything is the strong who remain decent, the powerful who remain decent, the ones in surplus who remain decent. And that is the one that is worthy of praise, that is worthy of admiration, that is worthy of respect, and that should be the way in which we model our behavior. The true strong are more, ironically, like Jesus. And what did Jesus say? On some turn the other cheek stuff. Obviously, there's a time to fight. Obviously, there's a time to confront. Obviously. But I'm talking about in this world where, toxicity, the toxicity of the city. The toxicity is rampant. The toxicity is a norm. And we don't know how to fight it. And I will say, one of the most basic fundamental ways to combat it is to be fortified. It is to be rejuvenated. It's to be the best version of yourself. It is to seek nourishment through the highest quality of foods, supplements, and nutrients. It's to seek nourishment through when you and I have a conversation, we're being transparent. We're being vulnerable. If not, and more than anything, we are. I got it. You know how you have a conversation with somebody and the intention, the underlying theme is let's stir the pot of drama. What if the underlying theme of a conversation instead was let's stir the pot of wisdom? And it's not far-fetched. I do it often with those close to me. It's not far-fetched. I have this conversation with my brother from another constantly, stirring the pot of wisdom, speaking to that which is dramatic, speaking to that which is quote unquote drama, but ultimately speaking about how we can combat it, how we can be better, how we can overcome it, how we can conquer it, how we can transcend it, how we can be well adjusted in the face of it. This world got everybody discombobulated like never before, man. Distractions and noise and distractions, man. And guess what? It's actually doing you a perverted negative service that you don't notice. What the distractions and the pollutants are doing is it's continuing to kick that can down the road of uncovering what's underneath the emotional rug that you've been sweeping everything under. All that shit that you've been avoiding. Sometimes you gotta yell, man. I'm saying I'm talking about by yourself. Sometimes you just need to cry. Sometimes you need to have that hard, uncomfortable conversation with yourself. I've been being a fool. I have been being dishonest. I have been being a coward. But it doesn't stop there because each moment is a new moment. And I've been being these things. But guess what? On some Maya Angelou stuff for real. Still I rise, still I rise, still I rise. Good morning, everybody.